Hello and welcome to the third video for our Lightning course on roles and responsibilities for ITAM, for IT Asset Management. Today we're going to be discussing the procurement and sourcing role. This includes understanding how this role leverages trustworthy data coming from IT Asset Management and what some of those key requirements from procurement might be. Fundamentally, the role of procurement and sourcing is provisioning appropriate goods for the organization in a way that minimizes costs and maximizes that return on investment, that value. In other words, negotiating deals that deliver value from money for the organization. Pairing that with trustworthy data, the IT Asset Management or ITAM team helps to put that procurement and sourcing role in a position of knowledge and power. If there's a potential risk with a software publisher, well, it's known ahead of time. If there's an optimization opportunity, it's known before the procurement and sourcing teams sit down at that negotiating table. So in this way, the role of procurement and sourcing is leveraging that trustworthy ITAM data to deliver further value and maximize the return on investments made by taking a data-driven approach to negotiation. In order to be effective in positioning optimization opportunities or understanding the potential risks to avoid during negotiations and during contractual renewals, the procurement and sourcing team needs to proactively communicate any requirements to the IT Asset Management team. The best practice is to come up with a yearly calendar of deliverables and to align the timelines agreed in order to complete these important and involved data requests. The timing of the data requests to the ITAM team needs to be driven by the current state of maturity in the organization and the complexity and risks of the associated publisher. So for example, if you're negotiating a multi-million-dollar IBM ISO contract renewal, that should be worked on with a large lead time, right? Several months in advance, the IT Asset Management team should know and undertake some analysis to understand the compliance position. As opposed to a smaller renewal, if you're looking at a tier 2 or a tier 3 software publisher, that might in your organization only take a couple of weeks to get those data requests in that position together. Time should also be allowed for the IT Asset Management team to provide a complete and correct analysis as much as possible, and then to work with one of the other roles, the application owner, as needed to provide further trustworthy data inputs on future license requirements. That will help inform the strategic roadmap that procurement and sourcing can take to the negotiation table. So therefore, the procurement and sourcing role is responsible for having that complete view of all contractual events and all renewal dates for key software publishers in the organization, and proactively working with the IT Asset Management team to ensure that they have a good understanding of risks and opportunities ahead of time to drive that value in contractual renewals. In order for the ITAM team to complete their analysis on time and supply that trustworthy data back to procurement and sourcing team also needs to agree and align SLAs with the IT Asset Management team in order to provide those complete and correct records. What the ITAM team needs from procurement is granular detail, the proof of entitlement. If the detailed data points on the ownership and entitlement of licenses is not available from a software publisher, well, this is part of what procurement and sourcing needs to do, to follow up and hold those software publishers to a high standard of transparency. So if necessary, maybe a vendor management component could be leveraged to escalate to that software publisher if you're not getting that granular product level purchasing information. However, if purchasing records and proof of entitlement are made available according to an agreed upon SLA, what this allows is the ITAM team can then turn around and provide that trustworthy data in the form of risk and opportunity assessments per publisher. We get that back to the procurement and sourcing role. So it's in everyone's best interest, procurement and sourcing and IT Asset Management and application ownership, to ensure that these silos are broken down in the organization and you really have this collaboration in a cross-functional manner. Cross-functional teams need to work together. Another key component of the procurement and sourcing role is their line of communication with the larger organization and key decision makers. When a risk gets mitigated or when there's a cost avoidance opportunity that gets realized as a result of IT asset management and procurement working together, well, the best practice is to recognize that this activity never happens in a vacuum, never happens in a silo. If the executive leadership mandates cost takeout targets specifically against procurement and sourcing, for example, if those are surpassed and you achieve more than those targets using ITAM trustworthy data, it's also important, it's critical to publicize that mutual success. And what that does is it helps the ITAM team also gain increased trust, gain increased visibility in the organization, gets more ingrained, but it helps to avoid a lot of the potentially kind of political and charged discussions around what's considered savings, what's termed cost avoidance. Typically in your organization, the procurement and sourcing role have already aligned these and defined them ahead of time for these concepts and how the organization recognizes savings versus cost avoidance. If the procurement and sourcing role is proactively working with IT asset management to both communicate those critical renewal dates, the contractual timelines for key publishers, as well as leveraging that trustworthy data that's provided in order to negotiate from a position of knowledge and power, the procurement and sourcing role is very well positioned to drive significant value back to the organization. This concludes our third video in this lightning course on IT asset management, ITAM, roles and responsibilities. We covered procurement and sourcing and how this role delivers value by leveraging the trustworthy data coming from the IT asset management program. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the other videos also in this lightning course. And if you have questions about this topic or any other ITAM topic in general, please get in touch with us. Visit our website at anglepoint.com.